come in here. We were speaking, several times on programs, Sri Iyer, which we had done on NPAs and particularly on the ICICI Bank controversy when Chanda Kochhar for a long time had refused to step down despite allegations mounting against her. She also had the full confidence of the board until she finally lost it. What do you make of today the CBI actually naming her as well in the FIR?
That's a good thing, but I'm afraid that it's taken a long time. We wrote about it in March 25th, 2018. So it's almost a year since then that the charge sheets have now been filed. See, what happens is when there is so much delay, the people who are in the scam, caught in the scam, have ample time to cover up their tracks. So what would happen is they would have a new layer of obfuscation. Money would move from one tax haven to another one. So by the time the CBI and the ED start digging into this stuff, they're only going to go and hit against a lot of walls. So I think there has to be a way that they can, the CBI, ED and so on, be able to move into this fairly quickly. If justice delayed is justice denied. In this case, there's a bigger thing that's coming up.
Yeah.
There was a 40,000 crore loan sanctioned to do oil exploration off of Mozambique. And in that also there may be some malfeasance, and I think I'm waiting to see who other is going to be named in that. And I believe one of the people who's named in the charge sheet is the CEO of Goldman Sachs today in India. I have to verify if Sonjoy Chatterjee is still the Goldman Sachs CEO, but he is named in the CBI charge sheet. So this is going to be very, very interesting.
So the net is growing wider and more murky. Interestingly, there was another Ruya company also connected, in an alleged case of favors to Chanda Kochhar. So as you said, the net is growing bigger and wider. But at the end of the day, doesn't this, Sri Iyer, also signify a huge low for the banking industry today? With one of the former top executives, someone who was awarded, someone who was widely respected, now today being named in a charge sheet of fraud, a charge sheet of alleged quid pro quo.
Yes. And in fact, this should go back to even K.V. Kamath, her boss in ICICI, and he has been also, named in many other places, including a book that I wrote about. I don't want to name it today because it's a sister channel of yours. The thing about all this is all phone banking loans approved from the very highest levels in finance ministry. Yet the ex-finance minister roams free. He gets anticipatory bail, but thinks that, he thinks that he might get questioned, and he goes and gets an anticipatory bail. And for him, all courts are open, all hours of the day, 24/7. Very, very, very strange that a common man such as you and I, we will not have that kind of luck approaching the courts to get bail. See, this is the key problem. We have to go after the head who's allowed all these loans to take place.
Okay.
And I think we don't do that.
Yeah, I will. Sri Iyer has a quick response. Sri Iyer has a quick response.
And you're getting government institutions to bail people out time and time again.
She's walking all over the question that you asked. It is Mr. P. Chidambaram. I'll spell it out for you. CHIDAMBARAM. And this person is involved not only in the loan that you mentioned about 40,000 crore, he's also involved in the ILNFS, he's also involved in the PNB scam, all these things. He had a template starting back from Indian Bank in the 1990s. God's sake, this man is full of corruption, and I don't know what the Modi government is doing, not throwing him behind the bars. He is creating so much mischief, he has done so much harm to the government, and all the money is of the people. The savings of the people has been completely drained out, and this lady doesn't even want to mention his name? Come on now.
Quick intervention once again from Sri Iyer before I take another quick break. Sri Iyer.
It's the pot calling the kettle black. Okay, this person was more or less associated with the finance department for more than 10-15 years. You take it from 90s, from P.V. Narasimha Rao government, he was a commerce minister for some time then. Then in 1996, under Deva Gowda, he was a finance minister. Under Gujarat, he was a finance minister, and he is back again as finance minister in 2004. He cannot wish this thing away. It's not the institution. You create one bad a formula and then you kept replicating it across all the banks. This is the problem. The crux of the problem lies with the guy who invented this scam. And don't try to say that the NDA government today is letting it grow. What the heck can they do? The bones are already dispersed before.
And what is the government doing?
Okay, let Shriya come in on that point. Let Shriya quickly respond to you on that point, and then I want to come.
I want to come. Allowing haircuts for a lot of institutions.
I want to also come to the issue of how the government and the RBI can act on private banks as well. Because in this case, we saw a long time before any sort of action was taken against Chanda Kochhar. Yeah, Shriya, you can quickly respond to Aishwarya before I come to that issue.
Aishwarya has a point in that it has taken really long for this government to recognize the problem and do something about it. But here is the real challenge, Uday. And if you permit me, look at the Babus that have been in power or in finance ministry from 2014. Modi didn't change any of them. So presumably many of them were also involved in these scams when the scams were being hatched. I'll give you an example. In Aircel Max's case, 5 officers were supposed to have been given sanction for prosecution. From what I'm hearing, there was a near revolt in the bureaucracy saying that if you do that, the entire bureaucracy is going to stop functioning. What is Modi to do? So it took time and it is going to take more time. So we can't just wish this thing away. We can't say, oh, you're in power for 5 years, therefore you have not done anything. It is time. It's taking time. But remember that Modi has shown the will to act. And this itself is a big thing because first of all, in order to solve a problem, you have to accept that there's a problem.
I know Aishwarya can of course again respond to you, but you know, let's come to the wider issue now of how you know, private banks can also be reined in by the RBI and by governments. Now of course there is less control over them because they are autonomous. There are government appointees though on their board. Shriya, here at the end of the day, ICICI board also took a long time before they acted against Chanda Kochhar. You know, it was only when allegations mounted and there was of course intense media reporting, their stocks also decided to fall, that finally she was you know, she stepped aside, there was an interim CEO appointed, and only in October did she resign. Why couldn't it have happened earlier?
Well, see, the thing about private bank was settled in Supreme Court when they passed judgment against another private bank called Global Trust Bank. And they said that as long as these private banks are accepting shareholder you know, savings deposits from India, they are just as accountable as the public sector bank. So that part is, you know, already ruled and rested. Now, as far as taking time is concerned, can you please tell me who really owns ICICI? It's all a lot of shell companies. You can't even put your finger and say, this is the real owner of ICICI. See, that is where the problem is. It almost makes it feel like these people are just, you know, faces for somebody else who's just, you know, pulling the levers.